what kind of third-party apps would you like to see that you think would be valuable?
Oh, that's a great question. So the things that we're focusing on right now are applications to help visualize data and improve operational performance for around discharge in a couple different areas. And I don't think we have enough time for me to get in that at length, but those are things that we can really do with the existing standards. I think the things that we're most excited about seeing development is around CDS hooks, specifically because that will have the opportunity to make an impact at scale for pulling forward information for lower cost medications in real time with orders to patients or for prescriptions, having better interventions or monitoring smaller changes in values that we could do on separate servers that aren't bound to our EHR. So CDS hooks, I think, will be kind of the game changer for a lot of healthcare systems, and looking very much forward to that support in the coming years.
So if I had a third-party app and I wanted to convince Cerner to speed me up, could you as a customer help me put pressure on Cerner?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Actually, that's we've looked at some joint partnerships and developments with a few different vendors. And pre-COVID, we were going down that route with two separate groups. Obviously, with the financial crunch, we've had to reprioritize our capital allocation, and those nice to haves have fallen to the back burner. But any vendor looking to do some development or get support from Cerner or Epic would be well advised to partner with an organization who's a client and do that together, kind of have a hammer and anvil approach where the customer is stating, hey, we would like this, and here's our business case. And the vendor is stating, we can do this, we just need your support to support that aspect or that standard.
Clinton, do you have any comments?
Yeah, here in Houston Methodist, we put in place a center for innovation that's driving a lot of the development that we're being asked to do. They kind of group them in three categories: the improvement of the patient experience, improvement of the caregiver productivity, and an improvement of the patient safety is what I'm seeing that the category of apps that I'm being asked to help or assist with, they fall into. We've worked with a company, CareSense, that sends out patient texts based on a protocol to remind them to change a bandage or take their medicine, which is kind of improving the patient experience. Recently, we're working on an ambient listening project, which is an AWS where the physician has an iPad and he pulls back the patient schedule, picks the patient, and then they go through their office visit, and then he dictates his notes, clinic notes, and puts those back into Epic. It's saving the caregiver time. And then patient safety, we're working on a project, an OR project, which is another ambient listening kind of project, where the physician is able to call up the patient's data and resource lists and put notes back into Epic. So those are kind of opportunities that you can have with using FHIR. You have real-time data that's more discrete and immediate, on demand.
So the updating data in the Epic database is that's not something that's sort of covered in Smart on FHIR right now.
Well, there's one FHIR that there's a clinic note that they have that you can use to put notes back, that we've been successful with the ambient listening project to put clinic notes back in. But you're right, it's not too many API calls that put information back into Epic.
Yeah.
One other thing, Daryl, that I forgot to mention is something that's coming up that will be a huge boon to healthcare systems, and it sort of ties into one of the questions from the crowd, is the bulk FHIR capabilities and having those standardized values to do larger extracts of data. So from the Cerner perspective, the initial DST and DST2 or DSTU2 standards don't support large volumes of transactions, which has prevented us from partnering with vendors who want to come over to the FHIR standard and get away from HL7. So the required support of bulk FHIR will be, again, a huge impact for developers as well as organizations who are trying to do large data set extracts or analysis.
Yeah, that's a good point. And that was one of the HL7 projects that was fairly late in coming. I think and it's an example of one of the things that as we were developing the initial standard based on a REST API with queries, but the data coming back in JSON, as I said, you can read it, it's you can see what it is, but that's not necessarily the best way to move lots of data. So the bulk FHIR standard is built on where other people in other industries had this problem, and this was a solution. And it took a while. There were competing groups within HL7 who wanted to do it different ways, but they finally settled on the right way to do it.